Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Rolex Cosmograph Daytona in Everose Rose Gold with a black dial, reference 126505. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the history, a little comparison to the older model, then talk to you about the case bezel dial bracelet movement, try it on, and give you my final thoughts. So let's start with the history. The Daytona has been around for quite some time, around 50 years or so, at least as of 23, and it's one of Rolex's most iconic lines. It has racing heritage. The name itself, Daytona, is named after the famous Daytona race, and it's as I said, one of Rolex's most popular lines. Rolex makes many sports lines. They make the Submariner, the Yachtmaster, the Sea Dweller, Deep Sea, so on and so forth. There are only two that are tied with racing, and that would be the Daytona and the Yachtmaster. And the Daytona, I said, is one of the most successful lines, and I would actually argue it's their most prestigious line. Why do I say that? It's because it's the only sports watch that Rolex makes that's in platinum. I said sports watch because they also make other watches in platinum, but as far as sports watches, they reserved their most prestigious material for their most prestigious line, which is the Daytona. Now, they make the Daytona in many, many different variations on bracelets, dials, materials, etc., because it's a very popular line. It looks fantastic. So there you have it. That's the Daytona. Okay, that's a little bit about the history. And I guess I should say, I will tell you about where this stands with the rest of the watches, rest of the Daytona line. This reference number is special because it just came out in 2023. It replaces the older model, which is 116505, which was in production for like 10 plus years. And we'll get into the differences of why this one is better and is more updated than the previous generation. But this is the start of a new reference, still the same Daytona, but just has some upgrades that make it that much better. And we'll talk about it. So let's start with the case. Now, the case is made of rose gold, and that's not any different from the previous generation. But what is different about it, if you compare it to other sports Rolexes that Rolex makes, is that the case is using the Datejust case. It's streamlined, and the lugs, the thing that connects the bracelet to the case, are rounded, as opposed to, for example, the Submariner or the Deep Sea or the GMT, which have much blockier edges that look much more angular. This looks much more streamlined, and that's because it has to do with the watch being having race heritage, the Daytona. And so it only makes sense that the watch itself would also likewise look streamlined, just like the Yachtmaster does. If you look at the way that what is the benefit of that? Well, it allows the watch to sit more comfortably on your wrist, and instead of being blocky on the edges like a Submariner, for example, it wraps your wrist better because it curves. The bottom doesn't curve, but the top of it curves, and at least it looks like it would fit your wrist better. Okay, so that's the case, and the case is 40 millimeters. They did not change the size. It's been 40 millimeters. It's always been 40 millimeters. It probably always will stay 40 millimeters since that's a very good size. And if it's from my thumb to my index finger, that is 40 millimeters, the 8 o'clock to the 2 o'clock position. Now, Rolex has its own gold foundries where they mix their precious materials. In the Daytona, they do the precious materials in Everose, which is also rose gold, and yellow gold, white gold, and platinum, and also steel. So pretty much and also steel and gold. So pretty much every material that is used in watchmaking, other than actually even ceramic, they use it, but not on this model. So that they have it for the Daytona because it's, as I said, their most popular line. And the way that they mix it ensures that the gold stays rose gold. That's hence the name Everose. And they mix it in their particular way, which is not surprising so that they can ensure the watch does not fade, because I've actually seen rose gold fade to yellow gold before. So Rolex guarantees that that won't happen, hence the name Ever Rose, ever meaning forever. Okay, now let's move on to the bezel. Now the bezel actually is also unchanged from on this model than the previous generation, in that it's entirely made of rose gold. Now on the other Daytonas, such as the Oyster Flex, which have a ceramic insert, that bezel has changed. It's no longer all in ceramic. It's ceramic insert with a matching precious material that holds the bezel insert. But on the full gold, which uses a full gold bezel, you have the entire thing in gold, and so it actually is the same, the bezel, as before. Now let's move on to the dial. Now this is where you do have a difference. Now the older Daytona, the one that this one replaces, also had a black dial, but that black dial had several differences. First, it was not as nice as this one, meaning this one, Rolex calls it bright black with a Sundust dial, and that just means that the black is more brilliant, and it has a sunburst dial to it, or Sundust. I'm sorry, it has a well, it's a bright black, and if you kind of look at it in different lights, it kind of shines lighter in some areas than on others. That gives it that sun ray there. That's the right word. The sun ray look. And also the difference is that the hour markers also have changed. Okay, now let's look at the hour markers since we're looking at that. The hour markers in this version are longer and thinner. If you look at the older versions, they're shorter and fatter. And I think it makes the watch look more streamlined with these skinnier hour markers. Before it looked a little bit too plump. Now it looks thinner and more streamlined with these thinner hour markers and longer. Okay, and I also really like the subdials. Now the subdials before was a pink. What did not really look that great, to be honest, and it didn't sell that great either. But now it has a Sundust dial. Now you might wonder, what's the difference? Well, one is pink, the old one, and this one is Sundust. Now Sundust is a lighter, it's almost like a silver, and it looks really much better. It matches the gold much better. The old pink dial just really did not look, the pink subdials really did not look very good. It looked too pink, and they've changed that for Sundust. It's a much more soothing look to it. Okay, and I believe if you look at the counters, the subdials, they look a little bit thinner too. Before, I think they were a little bit fatter. So at least the track that runs around it, I think it looks a little bit fatter before. So the subdials look slightly different as well, and they are all in Sundust anyways. Before they had a gold black going around the edges of that track. They don't have that anymore, which actually makes the subdial look bigger because it doesn't have that black going around the rim of the subdial. Okay, yeah, I know these are minor differences, but they are differences, and it makes the watch look better. Okay, now let's move on to the bracelet. The bracelet really is unchanged. Rolex makes their bracelet in either Oyster, or they make it in Oyster Flex, which is a rubber, and they don't make it in anything else. They used to make it in leather, but they got rid of that. And Oyster really makes sense on the Daytona because Oyster is a sporty bracelet, and the watch has racing heritage attached to it, so it only makes sense that you attach a sport type bracelet to a sport watch. So there you have it. And it has this comfort extension 5mm that you can change your watch just a little bit, because our hand does, believe it or not, expand and contract throughout the day depending on weather, whether you're inside, hot, cold, etc. Okay, all right, so let's talk about the movement now. The movement is also updated. It is now a 4131. It used to be a 4130. It has a longer power reserve of 72 hours as opposed to the previous 48, and it's a little bit more precise. You can't see it on this one, but you can actually see it on the Platinum one. But and either way, it is It's updated movement and it's better. Makes the watch function better. In what way exactly? I guess other than power reserve, I'm not really sure. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and try this watch on. I am 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. And as I'm wearing it, you'll see that the watch does not look too big on me. In fact, it looks perfect. 40 millimeter is the standard size for a men's sports watch. And some people have mentioned that, oh, it would be nicer if it was bigger. I have to say I disagree, and so does Rolex, because the Daytona does not look too small on me at all. And I'm 200 pounds. I have a wrist size of 7.5 inches, and I'm 6 foot tall. So I'm not a small guy, and this watch doesn't look small on me. So, and it would fit most guys. So anyways, to give you my thoughts, I think that the Daytona is the top of the line sports watch that Rolex makes. And I like it in rose because it's not as loud as it is in yellow. And I think it's a little bit nicer than the Oyster Flex in that for just a little bit more money, I think maybe 10,000 or even less, that you can have a full gold bracelet as opposed to a rubber bracelet. And if you really want to have it on a rubber bracelet, you can actually put it on a rubber bracelet and be an aftermarket bracelet. But I think having the gold bracelet is a nice touch. And, you know, for this kind of price point, I think having it on a gold bracelet is really fantastic. So if you want to buy this watch at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.